Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are taking a really fascinating look inside the world of high volume food service. We're pulling back the curtain on the internal operational blueprint of a specific restaurant business, Tank's Pizza.
Yeah, and our mission for you today is, well, it's to move beyond just the menu and really understand the internal machinery.
Yeah.
How does a company promise high-quality, delicious pizza every single time
Right.
and then actually deliver that consistency, especially at scale?
Get
We've
that.
gathered their internal docs. I mean,
Yes.
everything from the employee handbook, a really detailed culinary training program,
Right.
to super granular cleaning checklists and even the specs for their supply chain software. It's quite the collection.
So we basically have the full organizational blueprint here, from the company's big picture thinking right down to the exact weight of mozzarella on a medium pizza. It's like the source code for their quality control. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, do it.
Where should we start? Maybe with the product itself. The training seems like a huge piece of this.
Exactly. That's a great place to start. Because they aren't just looking to hire, standard line cooks. They talk about developing pizza artists.
Pizza artist. Okay.
That tells you their whole philosophy right there, doesn't it?
Right.
This isn't seen as just casual work. It's a dedicated paid training program. We're talking 12 to 18 weeks.
Wow, 18 weeks.
Yeah, 4 hours a day, 4 days a week, and they pay $16 an hour for the training itself.
Okay, so do the math. That's potentially, what, up to 280 hours of paid training per person?
That's right. It's a massive investment per employee before they're even fully, operational on the line.
That time investment is huge. I mean, if you're willing to pay someone for potentially hundreds of hours of training, you are clearly laser focused on stamping out variability and quality.
Absolutely. And the program structure shows that. It's 4 phases. Phase 1, the first 48 hours or so, is just foundations and safety, knife skills, hygiene, the basics.
Makes sense?
Then you hit the core, which is weeks 4 through 9, about 96 hours on mastering the pizza.
Okay, so what does mastering the pizza actually involve?
Well, this phase goes deep into dough science. They teach different dough types: direct, indirect, pre-foment-based.
Pre-ferments. That adds complexity, doesn't it?
It does. Techniques like pre-fermentation, they dramatically increase the prep time needed for the dough, sure, but they also create a much deeper, more complex flavor profile.
Right, which helps justify maybe a premium price point or their quality claim.
Exactly. And they also teach the specific regional styles: New York, Sicilian, Detroit, and that thin, crispy grandma-style pizza.
So this isn't just flipping through a recipe card. It sounds like genuine baking mastery they're aiming for.
It really is. And then that mastery immediately gets codified into extreme recipe precision.
Ah, okay. Let's talk about that precision.
Right. If you look at their production recipe book, the rules are completely non-negotiable. A large 14-inch pizza, it has to have exactly 17 ounces of dough,
17 ounces. Okay.
6 ounces of marinara sauce, and 16 ounces of shredded mozzarella. Precise weights.
And add-ons, like pepperoni.
Every single add-on, whether it's pepperoni, peppers, whatever, 2 ounces. Exactly 2 ounces.
Okay, but here's a question. Mandating 17 ounces exactly. Doesn't that slow things down when the kitchen's slammed and staff are rushing? How do they balance that need for speed with that level of measurement?
That's the strategic trade-off they're making.
Yeah.
By standardizing the input weight, they actually eliminate guesswork later on, which they believe speeds up the overall prep time in the long run. And maybe more importantly, it eliminates cost creep, using a bit too much cheese here, a bit too much dough there, and prevents inconsistent products.
So the consistency is the efficiency, in a way.
That's how they see it, yes.
Now, here's something that caught my eye, the specific rule about applying cheese. It seems really particular.
Oh, yeah. What's fascinating here is the mandatory rules around it. For a single topping pizza, all the cheese goes on first, then the topping. Simple enough.
Right.
But for multiple toppings, the instructions are clear.
Yeah.
You save a portion of the cheese to sprinkle over the very last layer.
Why that detail? What does that achieve?
Well, that small rule is actually key to managing moisture and getting that perfect melt and browning in a hot, fast pizza oven. The top cheese layer acts like a shield.
Ah, controls how the toppings cook, maybe. Stops them burning.
Exactly. Controls topping migration, prevents burning. It's one of those tiny details that ensures the pizza looks and tastes exactly the same every single time.
And they must really drill this home, right?
Oh, absolutely. There's a mandatory rule written in caps. Do not guess, ask questions regarding any modifications.
Because every remake kills the ticket time and the profit margin.
Precisely. Time and money. And that operational rigor, it doesn't just stop when the pizza goes out. The final step is basically setting up the next shift for success.
Through cleaning checklists, right? I saw those. Very detailed.
Super detailed. Comprehensive closing checklists, everything clearly labeled clean and sanitize.
So what's covered? Is it just wiping counters?
Oh, much more. The key takeaway isn't every single item, but the philosophy. The closing procedure is essentially mise en place, but for sanitation and restocking.
Okay, like getting everything ready for the next service.
Exactly. Ensuring all stations are fully restocked, all prep food is labeled correctly, date, portion, weight, initials. Making sure FIFO, first in, first out, is actually being used, setting up and breaking down the 3-compartment sinks correctly, cleaning behind prep tables and cut tables.
Wow, the deep cleaning stuff too.
Yeah, and the mandate is crystal clear. All items on checklist must be complete before employee shift is over. No exceptions.
So they're basically programming the kitchen environment itself to start the next day already operating at peak efficiency.
That's the goal, which is critical if you want to maintain those tight ticket time goals they likely have.
But managing all those specific ingredient costs, like the 16 ounces of mozzarella, that requires more than just careful prepping. It needs real-time logistics, right?
Yeah.
Which brings us to their tech stack.
Yes, their inventory management system seems absolutely key here. It's described as a comprehensive web application, looks like built with React and Flask mobile-focused.
Okay, modern tech.
Yeah, featuring a real-time inventory dashboard and barcode scanning for instant updates as things are used or received.
So they've effectively digitized the core kitchen functions. I saw something about a make recipe feature.
That's right. Here's where it gets really interesting. When a pizza order is processed, maybe through the point-of-sale system, someone clicks Make Recipe in the inventory system.
Okay.
And the system automatically deducts those precise ingredient weights, the 17 ounces of dough, the 16 ounces of mozzarella from the livestock count.
Ah, so it directly connects the theoretical recipe cost to the actual real-time financial reality of the inventory.
Exactly. That tight integration would instantly flag any major discrepancies between what should have been used and what's actually left.
And it must help with waste management, too.
Definitely. It standardizes how waste is recorded. Employees don't just toss something. They have to log it as a stock adjustment, enter a negative quantity, and select a specific reason code.
Like spoilage or dropped item or something.
Precisely. Spoilage, dropped, maybe error in prep. That data allows management to actually analyze loss patterns instead of just writing off a vague amount of inventory as a generalized cost of doing business.
That's incredibly valuable data for spotting problems, like maybe a cooler issue causing spoilage or someone needing retraining.
Absolutely. But, those digital systems, they're only as good as the physical processes feeding them the data.
True. Garbage in, garbage out.
Right. Which is why their purchasing and receiving standard operating procedures, the SOPs, are designed as this really crucial quality control layer before any product even hits the shelf or the freezer.
So what does receiving a shipment look like there? Is it just signing a form?
Not at all. It's highly formalized. First, the personnel doing the receiving must be specifically trained for it. They have to visually verify the quality and condition of all the goods. They need to check the temperature of frozen products with a thermometer.
Makes sense for food safety.
And critically, they have to reweigh any products that are bought by weight, like, say, bulk cheese or meat, to ensure the weight actually matches the invoice down to the ounce or pound.
Wow, so they don't just trust the supplier's invoice weight?
Nope. Verification is mandatory. They even mandate taking pictures of any poor quality items immediately to document potential claims with vendors.
Look, you're right. All that careful weighing and portioning in the kitchen only matters if the ingredients coming in the back door are correct and up to standard.
Exactly. The logistics team essentially acts as a secondary mandatory check, reinforcing the culinary process standards.
If we connect this to the bigger picture,
Right.
these really detailed logistics SOPs, they're what translate that recipe precision we talked about into actual hard cost control.
Yeah, and also regulatory compliance, right? Reducing the risk of health code violations or fines.
Absolutely. And the storage SOPs follow the same pattern, don't they? All about safety and organization.
Completely. Non-negotiable rules for food safety. Strictly enforcing FIFO is a big one.
First in, first out. Use the older stuff first.
Right. Then there are rules like requiring raw meat to always be stored at the bottom of refrigeration units.
To prevent drips contaminating other food. Standard practice, but they mandate it.
Mandated. And demanding that all food, whether in storage or prep, must be kept at least 6 inches off the ground.
Another health code standard.
Yep. And they require checking and logging the temperatures of all storage facilities, fridges, freezers, twice a day.
Twice a day, wow.
Morning and evening, likely. The rigor throughout these logistics SOPs is clearly designed to eliminate financial risk and, maybe more importantly, health risks.
It sounds exhausting just reading through these checklists. It really makes you wonder what kind of employee thrives or is even willing to adhere to this level of intense rigor day in and day out.
That's a great transition. Because that brings us to the human element. The HR policies and customer experience expectations laid out in their employee handbook.
Okay, so what's the foundation they set for employees?
Well, the handbook sets a very, very firm foundation right from the start. Employment status is stated clearly, strictly at will.
Meaning, employment can be terminated by either party at any time for any reason, basically, unless it's illegal.
Correct. Unless it's specifically modified by a signed written agreement, which is rare, and new non-exempt employees. They face a mandatory probationary period of up to 30 days.
Okay, standard stuff so far. Now, here's where I saw a really key strategic decision point, or maybe a point of friction.
Let me guess. The benefits section, or lack thereof.
Exactly. While they invest potentially hundreds of hours training these pizza artists, the handbook explicitly states the absence of several pretty common benefits.
Like what?
No paid time off or PTO for bereavement, holidays, sick days, vacation days, or even personal days.
Wow, 0 paid days off listed.
That's what the document says. Furthermore, it states the company currently offers no group health insurance, no life insurance, no flexible spending account, FSA, and no 401k retirement plan.
Okay, that's a very stark benefits package or non-package. Being upfront manages expectations, I suppose.
It does, but it raises that strategic question, doesn't it? How do you justify investing so heavily in training 280 hours only to potentially risk higher turnover because you offer essentially 0 paid time off or major insurance benefits?
That's the million-dollar question. What's the thinking?
Well, maybe the answer lies partly in the clarity and rigidity of their accountability structure, which is also in the handbook.
The conduct rules and disciplinary actions.
Exactly. They rely on extremely clear, arguably strict conduct rules. Things like no gossiping, no unauthorized disclosure of confidential business information, no direct misrepresentation of the business.
Pretty standard prohibitions for many companies.
True, but they back it up with a very transparent, formalized 3-strike disciplinary system. First write-up is a warning. Second write-up leads to suspension.
And third
write-up means termination. It's laid out very clearly.
So the thinking might be that the transparency of the rules and the consequences is intended to maybe reduce day-to-day friction and strongly enforce adherence to all those complex SOPs we've been talking about.
That seems plausible. If you're going to mandate checking the freezer temperature twice a day and weighing cheese to the ounce,
you need a very clear, unambiguous path for what happens if someone doesn't comply, because non-compliance directly hits that consistency and therefore the bottom line.
Right. It impacts the profit margin they've so carefully engineered through those precise recipes and inventory controls.
Okay, so that covers the internal employee side.
Yeah.
What about the customer-facing side? Is it just as rigid?
Oh, absolutely. The final piece of this operational puzzle is the customer service protocol, and it's just as metric-driven and standardized as the kitchen operations.
Give me an example.
Okay, for in-person customers walking in the door, they must be greeted within 5 seconds of entry.
5 seconds. That's a hard metric, designed to manage queue perception and flow, probably.
Seems likely. And the telephone protocol, even more precise. Answer incoming calls within 3 rings.
3 rings, okay.
And you have to use the exact standard greeting provided, word for word. It's written out. Thank you for calling Tank's Pizza. This is your name. How can I assist you today?
Every single call, the same greeting. Standardization again.
Total standardization. Yeah. And servers taking orders have specific duties that act almost like another layer of real-time quality assurance before the order even hits the kitchen.
How so?
They must greet guests warmly, present menus, obviously, but critically, they are required to read back the entire order to the customer for accuracy confirmation.
The read back. That step alone must dramatically cut down on errors and remakes.
You'd think so. A simple but powerful QA check. They also have a specific duty to provide customers with allergy information clearly if asked.
Crucial for safety and liability. And what happens if, despite all this, something goes wrong? A customer complains. Even that process is standardized, seemingly to reduce emotional guesswork in a potentially tense situation. The protocol is, listen actively, apologize sincerely.
Even if you think the customer's wrong.
The protocol implies sincerity in the apology for their experience. Then offer a specific, pre-approved solution, usually a refund, a replacement pizza, or maybe a discount on the next order.
And if that doesn't work?
Then escalate the issue to a manager. It's a clear pathway.
So, okay, let's pull all these threads together. What does this all mean for the operation as a whole?
I mean, Tegas Pizza isn't just, a place that happens to sell food. It's engineered like a high-precision manufacturing unit.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
They pair that immense investment in culinary training and operational efficiency, which is reinforced by their tech stack, with equally rigid, metric-driven expectations for employee conduct and every single customer interaction. The entire company feels like a systematic loop, designed for maximum predictability and consistency.
That really seems to be the core lesson here, doesn't it? These documents show us that achieving true operational excellence, at least in their model, requires designing processes that attempt to account for pretty much every variable.
From the specific weight of dough ingredients down to the mandatory wording of the phone greeting, it's everywhere.
And this rigorous adherence to SOPs and training and logistics in HR, in customer service, that seems to be the single source of their claimed consistency and quality control.
It really is. The system is the quality control.
It's honestly astonishing how much preparation and granular detail is required to manage a restaurant reliably and consistently at scale. And if you think that level of obsessive detail is reserved only for the kitchen floor or the customer counter, think again.
Oh. What else did you find?
Well, buried within their operational documents, we found something called a copy of meeting checklist template.
A checklist for running
Yeah.
meetings. Seriously.
Seriously. And it applies the exact same kind of operational rigor we saw in the kitchen, but to basic administrative tasks.
Okay, I have to hear this. What's on a meeting checklist?
It outlines mandatory actions and checks required at specific intervals before the meeting even happens. Tasks for 2 to 3 weeks prior.
Weeks?
Weeks prior. Then tasks for 1 week prior, 2 days prior, and 1 day prior to the meeting.
What kind of tasks are we talking about? Weeks in advance for a meeting.
Things like confirming attendees, distributing pre-reading materials, finalizing the agenda draft, ensuring meeting room tech and equipment are secured and tested, confirming catering or refreshments.
Wow.
Sometimes weeks in advance, just to prepare for one internal administrative meeting. It just shows the incredible time investment they believe is required to define and execute success for any core process, even one as simple as having a meeting.
That really drives the point home, doesn't it? The discipline isn't just for pizza, it's for everything.
Exactly. Which brings us to the final thought for you, the listener.
These documents show the immense, almost painstaking preparation Tank Says Pizza dedicates to defining success in a commercial process. I mean, they are literally measuring success in ounces of cheese and seconds on a stopwatch.
So the question becomes, how much time and how much granularity are you dedicating to defining what success looks like in your own core processes, whether that's in business or even personal projects?
Are you working with clear, ideally measured, standard operating procedures? Or are you mostly relying on, generalized best effort and hoping for the best?
Because that difference, as Tank's Pizza seems to believe, could be the difference between intentionally scaling consistency and quality or just leaving it up to chance. Something to think about.